It's Saturday, February 8th, 2025. It's the 39th day of the year, and we've got a tremendous amount to discuss today. A life-threatening Arctic blast is gripping the eastern United States with some of the coldest air we've seen in years, while temperatures across the Great Plains are actually surging to 40 degrees above normal as a dramatic pattern flip takes hold. Plus, there's a major storm signal developing for Valentine's Day, so let's get right into it. You might be wondering why I just took a bite of an apple. Well, there's something really important that I need to address with all of you. There is an AI deepfake video of me circulating on YouTube right now, and unfortunately, a lot of you have seen it, and some people have actually fallen for it. If you look at the comments on that fake video, you can see the creators are using my face, my voice, and they're displaying completely fabricated weather maps while spouting absolute meteorological nonsense. What's really concerning is that it appears some viewers are actually believing this misinformation. Now, thankfully, most of you haven't been fooled because my inbox is absolutely flooded with hundreds of people reporting this fake content and asking what's going on. But to those who have been deceived by this deepfake, it's honestly a bit hurtful because those weather maps are terrible and the information being presented is dangerous misinformation. This whole AI deepfake situation isn't going away anytime soon. In fact, it's only going to get worse as the technology becomes more sophisticated. We've already reported the fake channel and it will get taken down, but another one will inevitably pop up to replace it. So we're implementing our latest defense against AI deepfakes on the internet. We have developed what we're calling the fruit-based verification system. Every day before I film, our website randomly selects a fruit. It could be an apple, banana, grape, or even a pickle. And yes, technically a pickle is a fruit. At the start of every authentic video, I'm going to take a bite of that designated fruit on camera. You can visit our website to verify what today's fruit is, confirming that you're watching a genuine video from me. Now, I completely understand how ridiculous this sounds, but if you check our verification page and the fruit matches what I'm eating in the video, congratulations, you're watching the real me. We're even maintaining a complete backlog of what each day's fruit was, and we keep the fruit's identity concealed until the video is released. Is this the long-term solution to deepfakes? Probably not. The best thing everyone can do is continue reporting fake channels so they get removed as quickly as possible. But right now, aside from that, there isn't an effective way to combat this technology. So I'm going to continue being the guy who bites into produce at the beginning of videos to prove I'm a real person, even though it makes me look like a complete weirdo. Hopefully this gets people talking about the deepfake problem and raises awareness about the issue. In the meantime, always check the channel name carefully before trusting any video content. And if I'm not eating fruit at the beginning of a video, it's not genuine. Period. Alright, now that we've addressed that important issue, let's talk about the absolutely wild weather situation developing across the United States. We've got wind chills plunging to 30 degrees below zero across New England right now. We're looking at temperatures 10 to 20 degrees below zero in Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia. This represents some of the coldest air we've experienced so far this year, and it's going to get even worse tonight into tomorrow morning. Get ready for actual surface temperatures to drop below zero, even without factoring in the wind chill. But with these strong winds moving through, we could be talking about wind chills of 20 to 30 degrees below zero. This is genuinely life-threatening cold, everyone. Sunday could actually bring record low temperatures to the mid-Atlantic region, with high temperatures running 20 to 30 degrees below normal. But while I'm talking about this brutal cold in the east, do you see that massive surge of warm colors developing in the center of the country? That represents the big pattern flip that's on the way. Yes, you heard that correctly. We've got a complete weather pattern flip developing. The greens and purples along the east coast represent our departure from normal temperatures. In some cases, over the past couple of days, we've been 20 to 30 degrees below average. But look toward the west. You can see all those reds and oranges starting to blossom during the daylight heating hours. Those represent above average temperatures, and in fact, some places like Topeka, Kansas, could be up to 42 degrees above average over the next couple of days. That's going to feel like an absolute heat wave. We're talking about cities like Des Moines reaching 70 degrees on Monday, when the average high there this time of year is 32 degrees. That's nearly double the normal temperature. It's going to feel absolutely incredible, especially after all this bitter cold we've been experiencing. This is a rare winter weather pattern, and we expect it to continue for an extended period. Here's the latest outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. The 6 to 10-day forecast paints the vast majority of the lower 48 states in the above normal temperature category. We're looking at much above normal temperatures from Dallas and Houston all the way up to Sioux Falls and Minneapolis. You can see we're starting to see some below average temperatures working into the West Coast, and I think this entire pattern is going to continue shifting eastward. That temperature boundary developing across the middle of the country is going to set the stage for, you guessed it, storm systems. We're going to see an increased period of active weather as we move forward, specifically around Valentine's Day and pointing toward the end of the month. I think we have several opportunities for both snow and potentially severe weather developing. We're about to dive much deeper into this forecast, but first let me acknowledge today's sponsor. Looking at the weather patterns extending well into the future, you can see that cold air is going to hang on for dear life across the north and east all the way through Sunday. It's going to remain bitterly cold in those regions. But notice these ridge patterns building across the west and then the central United States. This represents warm air propagating over the Rocky Mountains into the Great Plains, extending up into the upper Midwest and flowing through the Mississippi River Valley, Ohio Valley, and Tennessee Valley. Every valley region is going to experience this fantastic weather, and we're all going to absolutely love it. This is going to be what we look back on and call the Great Thaw of 2025. But this warmth comes with a price. All of this warm, unstable air is going to clash with the natural cold air of winter that's trying to reassert itself across the region. This collision is going to lead to several opportunities for precipitation and storm development. We've got a general chance of isolated showers extending from Dallas all the way up to Nashville on Wednesday, February 12th. But notice how the frequency of these precipitation chances increases as we move forward in time. The development that's really capturing my attention is this larger storm signal right around Valentine's Day. Here we are on Saturday, February 15th around 1 a.m., and a significant low-pressure system sweeps over the Rocky Mountains, organizes over the Great Plains, and potentially creates a severe weather situation on the southeastern side, while producing very heavy snow on the northern side. This is a classic late winter into early spring pattern that we absolutely need to monitor closely. This represents a major signal for storm development during this time frame. I'm almost certain that something significant is going to develop during this period. What exactly will it look like? That's impossible to say at this distance, but this is what we're tracking as we look more than 170 hours into the future. Anything beyond this time frame becomes essentially useless in terms of realistic forecasting capability, but let's examine it anyway to understand the broader pattern. The main thing I want to highlight is the overall atmospheric setup. You can see we're going to start experiencing more atmospheric river events along the west coast. The next major one appears to be developing potentially right around Valentine's Day, slamming the west coast with heavy rain and significant snow at higher elevations. That system will then carry over the Rocky Mountains once again, and we're going to see these persistent weather disturbances moving across the country, interacting with the warm air that's trying to build, and obviously colliding with the natural cold air that wants to remain in place. This setup will generate multiple storm systems over the coming weeks. We're going to see several rounds of severe weather, heavy rainfall, flash flooding potential, and snow events. This active pattern continues well into February and potentially beyond. In fact, some long-range models are suggesting we could lock back into a deep cold pattern by the end of February, but it's difficult to have confidence in anything beyond 100 hours on these computer models. What we're examining here are signals and potential scenarios for how the atmospheric pattern could evolve. I do think we're going to emerge from the locked pattern we've been experiencing, and that transition is going to lead to much more active weather conditions. If you're hoping for warmer temperatures, then you should be excited, because looking even further into the future, all indications point toward this pattern really establishing itself for the long term. Looking at temperature departures 8 to 14 days out, we're still projecting above average temperatures for the vast majority of the lower 48 states, especially east of the Rocky Mountains. Even areas like Santa Fe, Denver, and portions of Wyoming and Montana are expected to remain above average through the next 2 weeks. Below average temperatures do expand somewhat across the western United States, but look at this. Even when we extend to the 3 to 4 week outlook, we're still showing above average temperatures across the southern regions, From Miami to Phoenix, from Denver to Columbus, from Raleigh to Oklahoma City, we're going to continue experiencing this warming trend for the foreseeable future. It's really quite remarkable. I know many people are asking about tomorrow's Super Bowl weather. Honestly, it's looking pretty uneventful from a meteorological standpoint. We're expecting a high near 67 degrees with a very slight chance of showers from a Pacific system that's moving through. But for the most part, conditions should be just fine for the big game. This pattern flip represents one of the most dramatic temperature reversals we've seen this winter season. The fact that we're transitioning from life-threatening cold in some areas to potentially record-breaking warmth in others, all within the same week, is truly extraordinary. The atmospheric dynamics driving this change involve a significant reorganization of the jet stream pattern. Instead of the persistent trough that's been locked over the eastern United States for weeks, we're seeing a complete reversal with ridging building across the central states. This type of pattern change often leads to increased storminess as different air masses begin interacting more vigorously. The Valentine's Day storm signal I mentioned earlier could be just the beginning of a much more active period. For those dealing with the current Arctic blast, please take all necessary precautions. This level of cold can be genuinely dangerous to human health. Make sure heating systems are functioning properly, check on elderly neighbors, keep pets indoors, and avoid extended outdoor exposure. The upcoming warmth will be a welcome relief for millions of people. But remember that rapid temperature changes can create their own challenges. Snow melt, flooding potential, and severe weather risks all increase during these dramatic pattern transitions. We'll continue monitoring the Valentine's Day storm signal closely as computer models come into better agreement. Right now, it's too early for specific details, but the potential for significant impacts is definitely there. The broader pattern change we're experiencing represents a fundamental shift in how our atmosphere is behaving. After weeks of locked, persistent weather patterns, we're entering a more dynamic period that could bring both benefits and challenges. For agriculture, the warming trend will be beneficial for areas that have been dealing with extended freezing conditions. For winter sports enthusiasts, the pattern change might bring the snow season to an earlier end in some regions. From an energy perspective, heating demands will decrease significantly across much of the country, which should provide some relief for utility bills that have been elevated due to the persistent cold. That's all the weather analysis I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to always verify you're watching authentic content by checking for the fruit verification at the beginning of videos. Stay warm during this Arctic blast, get ready to enjoy the upcoming warmth, and keep an eye on that Valentine's Day storm potential. I'll see you in the next forecast update.